Hello, Sabre board. This is Mike McGinnis. Angie and I have been working on some Google applications that we can be using now that we kind of switched over to Gmail addresses. So obviously our domain at saberhockey.com is now a Google Gmail product, and with that comes many different things. So Angie and I have set up a couple things that I want to get us familiar with that we can use. Again, our goal is to hopefully streamline some of our communication within Google as well as to centralize some of our file sharing so it's easy for us to locate files as opposed to constantly emailing files back and forth and having multiple copies. So let me kind of give you a rundown of what Angie and I have set up thus far. So the first thing is one of the apps that we want to take a look at is Google Drive. So if you go into the Google homepage, you'll see in the upper right-hand corner these 9 squares. These are all the different applications, software packages within Google. And the first one we're going to look at is called Drive. Now, Google Drive is basically a cloud space application for Google. So all documents will be stored on a cloud and then they can be shared within us. Now, if you here's your Google Drive page, and what I have here is several different drives. My drive up here on the left are files that you own and you control that are property of your email account. Shared with me down here are documents that other people have created and they have shared with you. What we've are trying is a new device by Google called Team Drives. And the reason why we chose this is a drive space that is owned by the domain saberhockey.com, not any individual member. So as you put files into Team Drive, they'll be not individually owned, but owned by the whole collective Sabre organization. Therefore, if people move or new members come aboard, new members leave, we don't have to worry about retaining files and who owns them. If files that are stored on the team drive will be owned collectively by Sabres, and that's the kind of the benefit to that. So if you look under Team Drive, we have set up several different folders. Now the reason why we organize folders in such a manner is not so much by content, but more by security level and permission level. So every folder is organized based on permission. Therefore, the board of directors and officers, this folder is accessible by everyone that is either an officer or a board of director or any other pertinent role in that manner. We set up also another folder for coaches. Our goal is to assign an email address for all head coaches and likewise another folder down here, an Google email address for all managers as well. That way we can collectively share information very simply through Google to all managers, coaches, or better directors. So if you put a file into one of these 3 folders, that file then can be viewed by anyone with the same permission. So if you put a file into the manager folder, it would then be viewable and shareable and accessible by any manager within Sabre organization. If you take a look inside Board of Directors, for instance, we created a couple of those folders to get started. Again, we don't have to be married to these. Feel free to change the names if you want. Add folders. For instance, we have committees. And in here you have appeals committees, executive committee, hockey committee, and so forth. And other folders on there, for instance, organization and leagues. In here we have all the different house and travel leagues, as well as USA Hockey, things of that. So if we get information from AHI, that information can be stored in here. So again, for instance, if you look back at committees, if we have the executive committee, again, executive committee is not the whole board, but if there is information produced by the executive committee and they want to share it with the whole board, then obviously they would put it into this folder. Obviously, if you have private files that you're sharing this between 1 or 2 people, you would put it into My Drive. Again, Team Drive is based for collective groups of people. So what I'm going to encourage everyone to do is over the near future, go ahead and start to add files into this. For instance, general documents could be things like our contact list, our bylaws, things of that nature. Um, Register any type of personal information about all of our people in our groups. Um, so let me kind of show you how to add files and so forth. So under coaches, I'm going to add, I made a folder called skill sessions. Now, if I want to add something, you can go to new, and there's a lot of different things you can do. You can add a folder. You can upload a file. You can upload a whole folder if you want. You can also create different documents. So Google Docs is basically like Google's word processing software. Google Sheets, similar to Excel. Google Slides, similar to PowerPoint. There's Google Forms, which is surveys, drawings, maps, so forth. So these are all Google software packages. The nice thing about Google software is it's online, so accessible anywhere, and then multiple people can work on a document simultaneously. So that's something we can get into future if we want. But if I want to add a file, I simply just click on it. I'm going to go into now my computer, and I'm going to upload practice plans. And I'm just going to put my template folder in there, hit OK. And if you notice, it is uploading, and there she is. And again, the little W means it's a Word document, and then you can go ahead and click on that, and then you can view that file. Okay, so that's kind of how that works as well. You can add whole folders at a time and so forth. Another good thing to do is if you want to put Google Drive onto your desktop, you can simply search Google Drive for PC or Mac, and you can download it onto your PC. And the nice thing about that, now I've already done that to my computer, and my computer set up for my school account, so I'll kind of show you how it looks like. But what it does is it makes a folder, so right here you can see Google Drive, onto your desktop computer, and then it's just a regular folder on your desktop. So as you move and sort files on your computer, they will automatically sync and upload to your Google Drive space. Now, this right now is set up via Google for your My Drive space only. So again, looking back at My Drive, this drive right here would then be on your desktop. Currently, Team Drives is a newer product by Google. This is not currently supported on the desktop version. Hopefully that should come out pretty soon. But again, we chose Team Drives because it's collectively owned by the whole group and not any individual member, which is the benefit of that. A couple other things that we want to show you that we did as well is we set up alias email addresses. So if we look at, for instance, we set up several groups. So now if you want to email the entire board of directors, you would just type in the email address board@saberhockey.com, and that email will then be distributed to everyone on the board. Likewise, we have another email address for officers, for all the other officer positions and so forth, at Officers Sabre Hockey. If, for instance, you have a question, like I said, Angie and myself are both administrators for a Google account. Both of us are very, very familiar with Google as users, but honestly, we're new as administrators. So we've been playing with a lot of different settings and so forth. So if you come across a question about Google or a setting and you have a question about that, you could simply email both of us simultaneously at admin@saberhockey.com. So likewise, if you have a group or an alias that you want to use that you think will be helpful for Sabres and helpful for whatever group that you want to create, let us know and we can set that up for you. Again, just email us at admin@saberhockey.com. For instance, we also started to set up aliases. For instance, like Mike O'Neill's address can also be found at president@saberhockey.com. So you could email to president, and that also will go to Mike O'Neill as well. So we'll start to set up more aliases as we find them. So do let us know if you want us to set up one for you. We could easily do that. But I just want to kind of use this video to introduce team drives. Again, the whole idea is for us to then put these documents in a central location that could be accessible to all, so we're not constantly searching through emails. I know a lot of us like to do that, trying to find information. Now we can go to it as one. Um, how to send items out of here is very nice. So let's compose a new message, and I'm going to send it to, for instance, Angie here. And again, if you type in any portion of the name, it should come up. And if you notice, if you go to down here, you can send a link or go right to Drive. So if I go to Drive, you can go ahead and say My Drive or Team Drive. So if I want to, for instance, go to uh, Board of Directors and select anything, you can open up any portion here as you want, and you can either link it, so it's a link that will take them to the drive, or you can make a copy of it as an attachment. So if you want to send to an outside vendor or whatever the case is, that would be fine as well. Okay. Now, as we're all on the team drive, we all have access to anything within the team drive. For instance, any of us can make folders, any of us can move documents around, any of us can delete stuff. Okay. Now, again, if stuff gets deleted, this gets temporarily deleted, but after so much time, I believe right now the setting is 30 days. I'll look into setting that up differently perhaps. It does get permanently deleted. So whatever changes you do make to the team drive, those changes happen for everybody, as this is a central location. But let's just, for instance, show you a couple settings here. Let's say you want to take this folder and you wanted to share it. Take a look here. I'll have to change that setting. Right now I have it locked in where these folders are only shareable within the board of directors, which I think is good right now. So if we wanted to, for instance, add a file, and I'm just going to add a Google Doc file, and we're just going to call this just a test file real quick. We can click that file, and if you go to share, okay, you can share it with certain people if you want. So if you wanted to share it with somebody, for instance, outside of Sabres, you can do that. Let's say you have a document you're trying to send to a vendor, whatever the case is. So I'm going to go ahead and send this test file to my school account. Okay. And what you can do is you can set the permission level. This person can either view it only, they can edit it, they can comment to it. So I'm going to say view only so that I can view it, but they can't change it. And I can simply say add. Now, you could do that if you wanted for an individual folder. Now, the nice thing about sharing things within Drive is instead of sharing individual files all the time, the nice thing is the moment that you put a file into a certain folder, that file then assumes the properties of that folder. So if you upload a file into the team drive, that file now is accessible by everyone that is shared into that team. For instance, if you put something into anywhere in the board of directors and officers, that file now assumes the same properties as that folder and is now accessible and protected by everyone within the board of directors. So that's the kind of couple items and rundown of kind of how Drive works. Again, this introductory tutorial video specific to us. Again, if you have questions looking at it, feel free to contact either Angie or myself at admin@sabrehockey.com. I'd be glad to help you or call us up. But either way, do start to add files to this, please, if you can, and that way we can kind of see how things work for us as a whole. Thanks a lot and have a great day.